Good afternoon, it's Jim Wright, and I'm back at Gold Mine Park for a very special Georgia on location. Joining me today is the mayor of Sugar Hill, Brandon Hembry, and we're going to be talking about all things gold, gold panning, gold mining, and how that connects with the history of Sugar Hill. So let's go ahead and explore the mine at Gold Mine Park. Here we go. How many of you know how Sugar Hill got its name? We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Located 2 miles south of downtown Sugar Hill is Gold Mine Park. And this abandoned mine has a rich and connected history with the development of Sugar Hill. Humans, for hundreds of years, have been looking for gold in this area. 500 years ago, that began with Hernando de Soto in the 1540s. Fast forward a few hundred years, about an hour north of here, near the town of Dahlonega on a ridge overlooking the Chestatee River, there is a man in 1828 by the name of Benjamin Parks. He's out hunting one winter day. He kicks a rock, picks up the rock, and notices that it's a gold nugget. And word spreads like wildfire. People come far and wide to come and test their luck and try to get rich. Many do not. Now, this gold rush, America's first gold rush, puts a lot of pressure on the native inhabitants of this land, the Cherokee and the Creek. Where we are standing at Gold Mine Park is kind of the borderline of the Cherokee to the north of the Chattahoochee River and the Muskogee Creek to the south of the Chattahoochee River. So as that pressure increases, it ultimately leads to the Native Americans being kicked off their land. And this will ultimately be known as the Trail of Tears. Please join myself and Brandon Hembry, the mayor of Sugar Hill, as we go ahead and talk about the history of this gold mine that is before us and how it connects to Sugar Hill and all kinds of awesome little stories about this mine. So let's go ahead and go in. As you enter the mine, the whole ceiling of the entrance was covered with cave crickets. It takes a downward slope until you reach a large open room that I like to call the atrium. I would say that the ceiling is a good 10 to 15 feet high and the whole room opens up. This room at one time had a bunch of old broken TVs, up until a few years ago when the city bought the land that will one day be Gold Mine Park. It was an open hole in the ground on private property and people put their trash there. It is also covered with painted handprints, hydraulic drill lines, and old brickwork and other things. I'd like to say thank you to the mayor of Sugar Hill, Brandon Hembry, for once again letting me into this mine. He's going to go ahead and talk about the history of this place and how it came to be and how it connects with Sugar Hill and all that stuff. So enjoy our footage of the mine at Gold Mine Park.
So this is one of two gold mines left that we know about Sugar Hill. This one is in the Level Creek area. There's another one that we know about in the neighborhood near Richland Creek. And Richland Creek actually got its name from the gold mining activity that took place in the community. We don't know how old this mine is, but there's some evidence to suggest that it could be pretty old, like maybe the 1880s. So you've got some evidence here that you can really kind of appreciate. In those days, there were two ways that they extracted rock from mines. They would use a flash fire approach, sometimes where they would put like a flammable material on the walls and they would light it on fire, and the extreme heat would cause the rock in the quartz in particular to shatter and to essentially fall. And you see some evidence of that possibly here with the dark-looking material on the rocks.
Okay.
And then you can also see some evidence of use of a hydraulic drill. And so you can see how the lines kind of run like this. And as you get further into the mine, you can see further evidence of that type of mining activity.
So there would have been some use with hand tools, but there would have been industrial tools as well.
More than likely. I mean, that was right around the time where kind of the use of hydraulic technology was prevalent. But it's really just hard to tell. There's not a whole lot of evidence that suggests exactly how they did the work in here. But this would have probably been, it's on the Shelley family property. So the Shelley family, it's a father and son. They came from England originally through Virginia and ended up here. William and Edward Shelley were their names. And for a while, they worked for James Simmons, who owned a lot of the gold mines here in this area. And he lived in Lawrenceville. He was a very prominent resident in Lawrenceville. Eventually, the Shelleys bought about 230 acres, I think, that included gold mines and the old historic Shelley Howerton home that you can still see on Level Creek.
On Level Creek.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, there's no evidence really that the family made a lot of money. There's still some descendants that are around. They more than likely, whatever they found, they just used it to augment the revenue that they got from other things like farming. One of the Shelleys was actually the clerk of court in Beaufort for a while.
So, cool.
So that's kind of the history of this mine. Generally speaking, we know of some very early references to a gentleman by the name of Jesse Chambers. He was probably one of the first gold miners in this area. And it is referenced that he used slave labor in order to do the mining. We don't know that for certain. But
so pre-Civil War.
Pre-Civil War, more than likely 1840s, 1850s, around that time. And as I was telling you earlier, we have a ledger from an old mercantile in the area from the 1830s. And some of the transactions, I think, were interesting, and they indicate that people were buying like gold mining pans.
Okay, so now we're in the atrium, as I like to call it, the atrium of the mine. You can kind of see, look, there's interesting structures here. Okay. Formation of stalactites, stalagmites. All right, let's go ahead and go in. All right. Here we go.
And I was, curious about this place with the last several earthquakes that we've had.
Yeah.
So look at that, Jim. Look at that.
Whoa.
I've never seen anything like that. I don't know if that's a creature or something else.
That's cool.
It's definitely an albino type.
Yeah. Wow, look at that. No, it's a creature. It's moving.
Interesting. Another one on the ground there. Looks like it may have fallen. It's all those TV glass.
Yep. So there used to be old TVs that were here back in the day from the bygone era, 1970s, perhaps even older. All that has remained is broken glass of the TV screens. You can hear us kind of chomping through.
And I don't know if you can see this on the video or not, but you can kind of see where the hydraulic drilling or chiseling might have taken place. And so they would have placed it there. And then you see
see the line going down. I thought it'd be a lot wetter than with all the rain. There's some TVs.
We couldn't get out.
It looks like there's cave cricket or something. Looks like roots are growing through there. So this is that side shaft where they were looking for quartz veins to try to, where quartz is where you're going to find gold. So this would have been a side shaft that they dug, and they would have stopped because they didn't find any gold, or they didn't find any quartz. But you can see here some of those vintage TVs. And now we're back on the main shaft of the mine.
And I usually see a bat or two, but I've not seen one single one.
Yeah, the last time we were here, we saw one bat. All right, so here we are at the end of the mine. Let's say we've gone, what, 100 feet, 200 feet maybe?
Yeah, that's usually my estimate.
100 to 200 feet. You can tell there's modern conveniences here. A kid left a tech deck here, so I know middle school students will get a kick out of that because tech decks are all the rage now. So now we're gonna go ahead and exit the mine. As we make our way back to the entrance, please take notice on the right side of the wall, and you'll see vertical lines caused by the hydraulic drills, and compare that with the left side of the wall that looks more rough and rugged. Also notice that the cave cricket with its white molting exoskeleton and the formation of stalactites on the cave ceiling, and people marking the cave with handprints and dates. At the beginning of the video, I asked how did Sugar Hill get its name. Earlier, the mayor mentioned that the miners would use flash firing to heat off the quartz, causing it to burst into small grains, which looked like sugar. The granular quartz was removed from the mine and put on a wagon. That wagon tipped over on a hill, and thus the name Sugar Hill was created. Another variation of that story deals with Sugar Hill's moonshining past. Sugar was used to make moonshine, and that wagon had actual sugar that had spilled over on a hill. Both are great legends of the origin of our little town. Once again, I would like to thank the mayor of Sugar Hill, Brandon Hembry, for his knowledge on this mine and Sugar Hill in general. If you're interested in more of this, there will be links in the description. This is Jim Wright with Georgia on Location. Have a great day. Bye.